Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto Was Iron Man, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
As the group made it to a border town near the border of Wind and Fire country, they soon checked into a hotel and Naruto was laying on his bed when the door to his room knocked. Naruto frowned as he got up and, remembering his last experience with a guest in his room, asked, "Who is it?" while he pointed his right arm at the door ready to launch a rocket senbon at the door. He heard Tenten's voice from the other side. "It's me, Naruto. I came to talk to you about some stuff. Can I come in?" Naruto frowned and said, "Hold on a minute." As he bit his lip and walked over toward the door and opened it, and he saw Tenten standing there, and he said, "Come on in." Tenten walked in and he closed the door and walked back over and sat down in a chair and asked, "So what do you want to talk about?" Tenten looked around the room and then at Naruto and said, "I want to know what is going on really. What is with the armor and what is your connection to Eva?" Naruto said, "Never heard of her." Tenten smirked and said, "I never said Eva was a female." Naruto frowned and asked, "How do you know about her?" Tenten crossed her arms and said, "Not going to happen until I get answers." "What is Eva exactly and what is that armor exactly?" Naruto said, "Then it appears that we have nothing to talk about then. Don't let the door hit you on the way out," as he motioned for the door. Tenten glared at him and said, "Eva was designed by my mother and father." Naruto's eyes widened a moment and he sat down and said, "I see. So that is why your dad has been so kind to me. Look, Tenten, I know you don't know me very well, but please listen to me on this. Never mention the name Eva again or that your parents were involved in any way to me, because if you do, then it could cost your dad and you a lot of trouble from not only my enemies but also from the Hokage and others. Gigi might even order your dad's death over this," as he looked at her. Tenten said, "My dad already said the same thing when I met Eva, but I need to know what my dad did to you and what is going on. My family is involved, so please tell me." Naruto thought, "Eva? What does she mean you met her?" The room shimmered a moment and Eva appeared and she said, "I am sorry, Naruto-kun, but there was something I felt I needed to do when you first went into her family weapon shop. I recognized her father as one of my creators by heat recognition. I then heard Tenten talk about how her mother passed away, and I figured with everything that my creator did for you, then you would not mind if I gave Tenten a little gift as well by letting her at least meet a part of her mother at least once. I am sorry for revealing myself without permission." Naruto sighed and said, "I see. Why didn't you tell me, Eva?" Eva said, "Because I knew you would not want to reveal who it was who gave me to you even on accident, so I figured since my creator would never tell who he was, he would have Tenten also remain silent on it so everyone would be safe." Tenten asked, "What exactly are you, Eva? I know you're a hologram, but of what and what exactly did my parents create that my father calls his sins?" Naruto bit his lip and Eva looked at him and he said, "Tenten, I think you should respect your dad's wishes on this. Your father is a good man and—" Tenten said, "Like your father the Yondaime." Naruto's eyes widened and asked, "What?" Tenten glared at him and said, "I am not stupid. My father said your mother was a redhead with green eyes, so that means you had to get your hair and eyes from your dad. Then when I heard you talk about the Yondaime using you to seal the QB, that made me question why would he pick you of all people, and then I thought about what the Yondaime actually looked like from the picture of him I saw in the academy textbook as well as the Hokage office, and you're the spitting image of his with whiskers, so quit trying to blow smoke up my ass and answer the damn question." Naruto snorts and burst out laughing and said, "Shikamaru was right, women are troublesome," as he looked down at Tenten and said, "I guess you're not going to let this go, are you?" Tenten shook her head no, and Naruto sighed and said, "Fine. Eva, seal all armor." Eva nods and Naruto's body changed a little and Tenten gasped as she saw the core, and Naruto said, "What you are looking at now is Eva." Tenten got up slowly and walked over and touched the core and asked, "What? Why did my dad put this in you?" Naruto closed his eyes and said, "After the semi-finals were over, I went to the hospital to track down Kakashi because I heard he went to check on Sasuke at the hospital. Kakashi basically told me I wasn't worth any of his time training and only Sasuke was," causing Tenten to cover her mouth. Naruto looked at her and said, "After that I snap. I started to rant that even if I had to make a deal with the QB itself, I was going to beat everyone in the finals and kick Sasuke ass. Your dad snatched me out of the hall and used a hench to make him look different and asked me if I was really willing to make a deal with a demon to not be seen as worthless like Kakashi made me out to be. I said yes, and he asked me if I was willing to take a chance on another way. A way that if it failed would have killed me, and I agreed. He gave me a card with the address to that house I asked about and told me to meet at a certain time. I did, and he took me to the basement and told me about how the armor was created and how he and your mom came to Konoha. Somehow I passed out, and I don't know why, but when I woke up Eva was a part of me then. I spent the rest of the month learning to use the suit and training, as well as coming to terms that my own father sealed QB in me and that the man I thought of as a grandfather lied to me my entire life, not only about QB until a teacher from the academy tried to kill me when I graduated, but also about my parents. All those years of being lied to and betrayed by those I thought I could trust hurt. Thanks to Eva here I was able to come to terms with it, and because of her my life has never been better. If it was not for her I most likely would not have been able to beat Gaara, and he would have destroyed the village, and if what Ero-sanin told me is true then Gigi would be dead. Your dad is a good man, Tenten, and I believe so was your mother. I don't feel any ounce of regret about what happened to me, because if your dad had not have done what he did I most likely would have become like Gaara was. Tenten bit her lip and looked at Eva and said, I don't understand though. I mean, I can understand about why the Hokage would be mad at my dad about doing something that could have killed you if it went wrong, but why does my dad think of the armor and Eva as his sin, and why are you trying to keep me from finding out? Eva said, I was originally created with the purpose of helping protect Snow Country. The weapon systems that are built into the armor was to allow the ninja of that country to better save and protect the lives there from not only enemies but also the elements, since it is always winter there. The project was under the control of the King of Snow Country brother. It was ran by your parents. What they did not know was that the armor was actually going to be used to take over the country, making Tenten eyes widen as she gasped. Naruto said, when your parents found out they took everything they had on the armor as well as the prototype and fled the country to Fire Country. They nearly made a complete escape, but one of the king's brother's men caught them. Yumon screamed for help, and luckily my dad was in the area and he saved them, but some of their research was taken. Tenten said, snow armor. The research that was taken was used to create snow armor and allowed the king's brother to kill the king and take over. Naruto looked at her shocked, and Tenten said, my mother's diary talked about how snow armor was used to take over that country, but she never mentioned that she was one of the original creators. Naruto sighed and said, yeah, from what I have researched about that country since I received Eva, the man who took over is evil and is killing what's left of the country. When I am strong enough I plan to go there and save the country using Eva as your parents originally hoped she would be used. Maybe I might be able to find the lost princess that escaped with Kakashi if I can and return her to her throne. Tenten looked at Naruto and asked, but why? Naruto smiled sadly and said, I'm a Jinchuriki Tenten, a human sacrifice. I was chosen by my father to be a sacrifice to save Konoha. I am a sacrifice for all the pain and hatred the people of Konoha feel for QB. I chose to become a sacrifice for the dreams of your parents and the hope of helping Snow Country. I am willing to sacrifice my life to protect what is precious to me. Not because I have to be. But because I chose to be. Tenten looked down as she saw the smile on Naruto's face as a tear fell from her eyes, and she asked, so you're already giving up on everything to be a sacrifice for nothing? As she looked up at him with tears falling freely. Naruto said, no, I'm not giving up. I will find a way to do what has to be done. When I fought Gaara I shattered the bones in my arm and it should have ended my career as a ninja. Ero-sanin and I tracked down Tsunade to become Hokage, and when I found her she was a broken woman who had given up on life because of losing everyone close to her. She froze because of blood. Tenten, think about that. She was the world's best medic, but she became frozen by a small scratch that drew blood. Because of that I attempted to do a surgery myself with only a 20% chance to live. Eva said 10% and you passed out from blood loss. Had I not taken over the suit and got you to Shizune and convinced her to operate on you, then you would have died in an hour at the most. Naruto said, but not only did I survive that, but also when Orochimaru and Kabuto blew up the motel room I was passed out in. Tenten's eyes got wide and said, wait, what? Kabuto, the guy with glasses at the exam. Naruto said, yeah, he's actually a Junin and a sound nin. We think he's one of Orochimaru's most loyal followers. Tenten frowned and said, what was he doing in the exams then? Naruto said, he was a spy. He was supposed to get close to my team so he could get information on Sasuke so Orochimaru could give him something called a curse seal. I only actually know a little bit about it since I got ate by a snake, blew it up with Kijibunshin and then fought Orochimaru himself while Sasuke was frozen in fear. Tenten looked at Naruto and said, so let me see if I got this straight, you met Orochimaru more than once and lived, a Jinchuriki, Kisame and Uchiha Itachi. Naruto said, don't forget Zabuza, Haku, the demon brothers, Gato and his army of bandits, Kabuto, Neji, and picked a fight with Tsunade. Tenten snorts and falls backwards and said, you must have a death wish, Snowman. Naruto blinked and asked, Snowman. Why did you call me that? Tenten said, well, you're wearing snow armor all the time, what else am I supposed to call you? Naruto said, well, I only got the armor after the semi-finals and when I am showing the armor I'm sort of called Iron Man. Tenten asked, you're kidding right? Naruto shook his head no and Tenten burst out laughing. Naruto sighed and said, so do you have anything else you want to laugh at me about? Tenten gasped for breath several times and said, nope. I'm good. With a smirk. Naruto shook his head and said, you can't tell anyone about any of this, Tenten. I don't want to see you or your dad get hurt for helping me but I don't think I will shop at your store anymore. Tenten frowned and asked, and why the hell not? Naruto said, I don't want pity or charity, Tenten. Tenten slapped him and said, don't you dare think that. I may not know everything but my dad and I don't do pity or charity. He gave you Eva and that armor for a reason, besides, my family shop is the best damn weapon and supply shop in the village. You won't find any better cloths or weapon anywhere in Konoha, with a smirk on her face. Naruto rubbed his cheek and said, you slapped me. Tenten said, yeah, what about it? Naruto looked at her and said, you actually slapped me. Tenten began to look unsure and said, yeah, I did. Naruto said, why the hell did you slap me? I was talking to you and bam. Right across the face. What the hell made you do that? Tenten said, you pissed me off. Naruto looked at her and said, that's it. That's the reason you slap me because I piss you off. Tenten frowned and said, yeah. Naruto got up and began to stalk toward Tenten releasing a little key and she started to back up a little and Naruto kept stalking her and asked, so if I felt like slapping you that would be alright, as he got closer to her. Tenten swallowed and said, I think I should go, as she started to turn not realizing how close to the wall she was. Naruto threw a fist and it hit the wall in front of her and said, I'm not done talking to you. Now answer the question. Is it alright for me to slap you if I feel like it since you slapped me? Tenten swallowed and looked scared and said in a shaky voice, no. It's not. Naruto leaned his head near her ear and whispered, then why is it alright for you to slap me? Tenten gulped and said, I'm sorry. Naruto smirked and said, then in that case, let's see if you're ticklish. As he began to tickle the side of her ribs and Tenten started to laugh and scream, stop, please stop, stop, oh god, stop, I'm going to pee myself. Naruto jumped back and laughed as Tenten tried to calm down and she glared at him and he said, I forgive you but please don't slap me. Okay. As he smiled. Tenten said, I hate you, jokingly. Naruto said, I know. Now go get you some rest. We got a long road ahead of us tomorrow. Tenten frowned and started toward the door and stopped and said, Naruto, thanks for saving me, as she left. Naruto sighed and Eva said, that was mean of you, Naruto. Naruto looked at her and said, perhaps, but at least she should be quiet now, let's get some rest, as he climbed into bed. The next morning as the sun began to rise over the desert the group stood there and Kankuro said, I hope you're all ready for this, as he began to walk out into the desert as the others began to follow. As they group traveled across the sand everyone saw that Naruto had his arms crossed and that he was actually using chakra to walk across the top of the sand. After about 2 hours Temari asked, how do you know sand walking? Naruto shook his head and said, sorry, what did you say? I wasn't paying attention. Temari growled and asked, how do you know sand walking? It's a Chunin level chakra control exercise in Suna. Naruto said, oh. The guys shadowing our group are using it. I just used their chakra pattern to figure out how they were doing it. The Sandaime frowned and asked, what guy's shadowing us, as him and Jiraiya both began to look around. Naruto said, a mile south by southeast there's a squad of 4 Sunanins following us since we left the hotel. I thought since both you and Jiraiya had looked at them you knew they were following us and they were like the Anbu patrol that followed us for the first 5 miles after we left Konoha. They turned back and started to head east about 10 minutes ago, so I thought they were just a border patrol. The Sandaime said, I see. I want notified if anyone else is following us immediately. Naruto said, yes sir. Temari said, that still doesn't explain how you're able to sand walk. I mean if they were that far away how are you able to do it? Naruto said, compared to the chakra exercises that I normally do sand walking isn't that hard. You just form a small sheet of chakra on your feet a few inches wide then your foot so that way your chakra holds you up keeping you out of the sand. Temari frowned and Tenten said, now you tell me. Naruto said, I wouldn't try it Tenten. We still have a long way to go since I can't pick up sooner yet so save your energy. Tenten frowned and said, very well. Let's go. As she turned and started to walk again. It took 7 hours in the desert before the group saw the circle rocks of the hidden village of sand and Temari smiled and said, there it is. Sooner. The Sandaime nods and said, it has been 3 years since I have seen it. Let's get there so we can rest. As he continued to walk. When they got within 100 yards of the village 3 swirl of sands appeared and Baki said, Hokage-sama. What are you doing here? The third said, I am here to finalize the agreement between Suna and Konoha. Baki looked confused and said, but the agreement was settled yesterday by the representative that you sent. All we have to do to finalize the agreement is to marry the Suna representative and to the one from Konoha. The Sandaime frowned and said, I assure you that whoever it was that is here was not sent by me or Sunid. If you could take me to the council and bring this representative then we can get this incident straightened out, unless this is a way for Suna to try and get out of the peace treaty that we are reforming, while releasing some key. Baki paled and said, of course not Hokage-sama. This whole incident was because of the deception of Orochimaru doing. Not our own original planning. Please follow me and I will lead you to the council chambers myself. You, escort the rest of the party here to their hotel and you get a team of June and have them bring that man and his party to the council chambers. This way Hokage-sama, as he pointed to the 2 men who came with him. The third shot a look at Jiraiya who nods and he went with Naruto and Tenten to their hotel room. A few minutes later the Sandaime walked into the Suna council chamber room with Baki and he scowled as he saw the other person who was in the room and asked, what are you doing here Danzo? Danzo said, a request from Suna to speed up the peace talks and return the Genin to them reached the council of Konoha and I was sent by them to finish the talks since you were busy with helping the village recover. If you would like you can review the agreement that has already been agreed on and sent to the Fire Lord and Wind Lord. The Sandaime saw several members of the Suna Council shoot glares at Danzo and the Sandaime frowned when the head of the Suna Council said, forgive me Hokage-sama for sounding rude but the representative that was sent here by your village has already forced us to agree to several heavy penalties for our part in the recent incident. We have already sent the agreement that was received to both the Fire Lord and Wind Lord for their approval. Changing the agreement is not only an insult to us but to the lords themselves. If you would like to review the agreement so further troubles can be avoided. The Sandaime said, very well but know that I am not happy with this. I sent a message to you after the attack on our village informing you that I would be the one who came to negotiate the new alliance. By you sending a letter to the council you are undermining the authority of my office and could be considered another act of war. See to it that this never happens again or the Godime Hokage may not be as forgiving as I am. Danzo, with the recent initiation of the Godime Hokage your position on the council is no longer required and you will turn over all rights to that office when we return, as he was handed a scroll from Asuna Chunin. After reviewing the document the Sandaime said, I am forced to agree with everything on the document except for 2. The first is there is a threat to not only Konoha but Suna that Jiraiya who has accompanied me will be informing you on and that you must also inform us of any information you have on this threat. This is not negotiable and I will speak to the lords myself so they know of this danger and will accept the change. I also do not agree on the Konoha representative for the wedding to the Suna representative. Danzo said, I am afraid you have little choice in that manner as there is no one in Suna who is more qualified than the son of a council member in Suna at this time and the wedding will be this afternoon since you have returned the late Kazekage daughter. The third smirked and Danzo frowned seeing this and said, "Forgive my rudeness, Council of Suna, but which would you rather have as a joint member of your village in Konoha? The son of a soon-to-be former council member, or a Chunin who is the son of the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha, who is also the hero of Wave Country, who was asked to take over as the feudal lord of Wave after the people of Wave ran their former member one out of the country, and also the only person to ever defeat Gaara in battle. He has also faced Itachi Uchiha once in battle, Orochimaru twice in battle, and recently faced Kisame Hoshigaki in battle for a second time, taking his arm in combat, making several council members gasp and Danzo to scowl. Danzo said, "Forgive me, but since we are in Suna, Hokage-sama, I am afraid that when a situation like this happens, then the laws of Suna take precedent over a popularity contest." A council member said, "I am afraid he is right, Hokage-sama. The laws of Suna are very specific when it comes to disagreements over the hand of any woman in Suna. Due to the hard life we live in Suna, we cannot afford for a civil war or destruction of our village, so when two people have a disagreement, there is a public battle, and the winner of the battle is the winner of the agreement." The Sandaime saw Danzo smirk and said, "Very well. When will the battle be?" Danzo said, "Since the wedding is set for this afternoon, Hokage-sama, then the battle has to be before then. I hope your representative is ready for it and not too tired from traveling here, Hokage-sama." The Sandaime said, "Very well. 2 hours before sunset. Is that agreeable to all of you?" Several council members quickly agreed, and Danzo scowled and said, "Very well. I was hoping for sooner, but I can't have my way all the time. I will inform my son," as he turned and left. The Hokage said, "If that is all, I must inform my representative," as he turned and left. After he was gone, the head of the council said, "That was interesting." A voice that sent chills down each of the council members' bodies said, "Pray that Uzumaki wins, because if anyone else marries my sister besides him, I will destroy Suna." As they all look and saw Gaara standing there in the Kazekage robes. Before they could say anything, Gaara continued, "I have also decided that I will become the Godime Kazekage of Suna, and anyone who does not agree with me can learn that I do not need Shukaku driving me crazy to kill them. Thanks to Uzumaki, my seal has been fixed, and I am now not only stronger than ever, but I am stable, well, as stable as anyone who will destroy you all if anything happens to my sister," while releasing some ki. Each of the council members saw sand crawling around their feet, and each looked at each other and gulped before saying, "We understand, Godime-sama." Gaara said, "Thank you for the nomination. Now inform me as to what has happened to our village, and also let me see this new treaty," as he sat down in the Kazekage seat. When the Sandaime got to the hotel where Jiraiya, Tenten, and Naruto were, he was not in a happy mood. As he closed the door, he looked over, and Naruto and Jiraiya saw the look on his face, and both asked at the same time, "What's wrong, Sensei Gigi?" The Sandaime said, "Danzo." Naruto frowned and said, "Isn't he the guy you warned me about to stay away from when you told me about Kyuubi?" The Sandaime said, "Yes, he is. While you and Jiraiya were away fetching Tsunade and our stop in Wave, Danzo came here to renegotiate the treaty, and for the most part he outplayed me and has already sent the agreement to the Wind Lord and Fire Lord for their approvals, and there is little I can do, but the problem is what else he got Tsunade to agree to." A swirl of sand startled all of the Konoha nins as Gaara appeared in the Kazekage robes, and he looked around the room and saw Naruto and said, "I have a request of you, Uzumaki." Naruto asked, "What are you doing here, Gaara, and what is with the robes?" Gaara said, "I am now the Godime Kazekage of Suna. The council has agreed to my nomination. That is not important. I need you to make sure that you win the battle this afternoon. I trust no one else with my sister." Naruto blinked, and Tenten asked, "What do you mean? What battle? What about Temari?" as she looked at everyone in the room. The Sandaime sighed and said, "Danzo has forced my hand. He had sooner agree to marry Temari as part of the new peace treaty that was signed. He wanted her to marry his son. The problem is that if he got his hands on Temari, then he would be able to use her to get to Gaara-san. With the new relationship the two have formed since Gaara-san's defeat against Naruto and having his seal fixed, he would then try and use Suna to eliminate all who oppose him for his bid for the position of Hokage. He has already tried to kill me once to take the position of Hokage. The reason he lost one of his eyes and an arm is because of our battle." Naruto scowled and asked, "Then why is he still alive?" The Sandaime sighed and said, "The fight was sanctioned by the Fire Lord because Danzo had saved the life of the Fire Lord's son and used the favor he earned to try to take over. We were not allowed to kill each other, but I had to nearly kill him before the match was declared in my favor. Naruto frowned and asked, what does this have to do with me? I understand you not wanting him to get his hands on Temari, but why do I have to fight this afternoon and why me? The Sandaime said, in order to save Temari from his hands I was forced to reveal certain information about you, namely your father. Naruto frowned and said, so now I have to marry Temari. Gaara said, not yet. Because of the laws of Suna you must fight Danzo-san for the right to my sister's hand. The only way for a winner to be declared is if one of you kill the other, one of you is to severely injured to continue to fight or one of you surrender. I trust no one else to protect my sister, so you must win Uzumaki. Naruto frowned and looked at the Sandaime and asked, if I win can I not marry her? No offense Gaara, but I am not good enough for your sister. Tenten frowned and the Sandaime said, I am afraid not Naruto. This is an all-or-nothing battle. If Danzo-san wins then Temari life will become nothing but torture as Danzo uses her to gain what he wants. Naruto sighed and said, what do you want me to do Gigi? The Sandaime said, as much as it pains me to say this I want you to kill Danzo-san. If not then the mistake of letting him live will come back to haunt you as my mistake with his father has me. Naruto asked, any restrictions on how to do it? The Sandaime said Naruto. I think you should know that the person you will be fighting is your age, but he is not to be treated lightly. I have no doubt in my mind the boy is most likely high Chunin or low Junin in skills. Danzo is forcing the fight to be today since you will most likely be tired from traveling here. He has stacked the deck against you. I did all I could do by making the fight this afternoon 2 hours before sunset. I am afraid that after the fight that you will be forced to marry her. Naruto closed his eyes and said, I understand. Tenten frowned and said, Gaara. I mean Kazekage-sama. Gaara looked at Tenten and said, Gaara is fine Tenten-san. Tenten said, Gaara, I was wondering. What exactly does the law say about this? I mean what is the actual wording? Perhaps there might be a loophole that we can use to end this mess. Gaara said, I am not sure about the wording. Sandaime-san, do you know the wording? The Sandaime said, unfortunately yes. The law says that in the event there is a disagreement between two parties over a piece of property, and in this case your sister is the property that is being fought over, that the two parties will fight in a public battle and the winner of the battle wins the property. Tenten frowned a moment and then she got a smirk on her face and said, I think I thought of something Hokage-sama. You just gave the answer to how to not only save Naruto from being forced to marry Temari but also how to outplay this Danzo guy. Everyone in the room looked at her and Naruto asked, what do you mean Tenten? Tenten said, you have to win Naruto for my idea to work. Can you do that? Naruto saw Tenten looking at him and he said, yeah, I can win. What is your idea? Tenten said, after you win that means that you are the legally then Temari fiancé, right? Looking at the Sandaime. The Sandaime said, yes, until the wedding. Why? Tenten said, then in that case what would happen if two people were to disagree over a piece of property, in this case Naruto? What if I challenged Temari to a fight for the right to be Naruto fiancé? Then all we have to do is have Temari throw the fight and she would be free of having to marry Naruto, and after I won the right to marry Naruto we can just call it off and Naruto gets his freedom along with Temari and Danzo winds up getting nothing out of this deal. The Sandaime bit his lip and Gaara said, that does seem like a good idea Hokage-sama. What do you think? The Sandaime said, are you sure you wish to do this Tenten? I mean this has never been tried before, so there might be something in Suna laws that I am not aware of. Tenten said, it's the only chance Naruto has. He should not be a sacrifice anymore with as much as he already sacrificed for others. The Sandaime looked at Naruto who was looking down and said, it's your choice Naruto. Naruto smiled a small smile and said, thank you Tenten. I owe you. Tenten said, no problem Naruto. You don't owe me since you saved my life already. Gaara said, very well. I will inform Temari. Thank you both, as he sent Shushan away. After Gaara left, a small black mouse ran out of the room out of a small hole in the wall. After Gaara left, Naruto got up and walked over to the window and he put his arm against the wall and looked outside and thought, seal armor. As he was uncloaked before it sealed, and the Sandaime and Jiraiya both looked over at Tenten to see her reaction and she said, he already told me about it. He said he got it from a debt to his dad. Both men nod and Naruto said, any chance I will get by without killing him Gigi. The Sandaime said, no Naruto. From what I know of Danzo, failure is not an option. You fail, you die. Naruto closed his eyes and remained standing there for several minutes and said, if I am going to fight then I need to get some rest then, as he walked over and laid down on the bed and placed his arm over his head to rest. Tenten looked at him and the Sandaime and Jiraiya both looked at each other and Jiraiya said, Sensei, why don't we go find something to eat for all of us? The Sandaime said, that's a good idea, we all could use a meal. I trust you will stay here, as he looked at Naruto and Tenten. Naruto snorts and said, yeah, I'm too tired to leave right now. Tenten said, I'm going to take a shower. The Sandaime nods and left with Jiraiya. After they were gone Tenten went toward the bathroom and came out a few moments later and said, you think you could help me? Naruto blinked and raised his arm off his eyes and asked, huh? Tenten bit her lip and said, the showers have seals on them where it takes 2 people to get water out so to save water. I am not going the entire time we are here without a bath so that leaves me with you all. Naruto sighed and placed his hands together and was covered in smoke and Tenten blinked and said, what the hell? Naruto got up and said, long story short, it's an actual shapeshift. Tsunade and Shizune both tested it and both think that I could get pregnant if, well you know. I figure this was better than having to feel weird with me and you sharing. Tenten said, you haven't been around my old team enough. Modesty is something you get rid of real quick with them. With Neji Bloodline and Guy and Lee team bonding I lost what little bit of modesty I had around them so go ahead and change back. Naruto snorts as he changed back and said, so you think their bloodline is used for peeping like I do? Tenten said, yeah, but I am not the one who openly declared it in front of the entire village. Now come on, you wash my back I wash yours. After all, this afternoon we are both going to be engaged. As she walked back into the bathroom. Naruto walked in and took off his cloths except his boxes and Tenten kept her panties on and she got in the shower and once Naruto got in the water came on and Tenten screamed, shit. Naruto said, damn it, that's cold, as they both looked for a water control knob. The water soon became warm and Tenten said, that was so wrong, as she grabbed the soap and rag and began to wash herself off while Naruto kept his eyes closed. Tenten glanced at him over her shoulder and blushed a little but frowned when she looked at his chest where the power core was and she quickly scrubbed her body down and she turned and said, you mind, as she held the rag and soap over her shoulder. Naruto opened his eyes and saw the rag and soap and said sure. As he grabbed them and began to wash her backside and said, so Fuzzy Brows or Peeper ever do this for you? As he washed her lower back while he sent a little chakra into his hands. Tenten arched her back and whispered, no, as she bit her lip holding in a moan. Naruto smirked and said, and here I thought you were going to say they did so you could keep me from knowing you lied about your modesty earlier. Tenten went red from embarrassment when Naruto washed the back of her legs while he was on his knees and she realized he could look at her ass but Naruto remained silent and she said, so you knew? Naruto said, yeah, in a deadpan voice. When he finished her backside he held the rag over her shoulder and said, here. Tenten took the rag and asked, what was that you did a moment ago? Naruto said, something Shizune taught me when we were coming back to the village with Tsunade. Because of the surgery on my arm I had the muscles were very tense so she taught me to send my chakra into my hands and rub them across my arm when water was on it. The water acts as a control agent to help release any tension you have in the area you're rubbing. The water shut off and Tenten said, stingy, as she stepped out while holding a towel in front of her. Naruto raised his left leg and the armor appeared and he held the rag under the armor and water began to pour out of the armor onto the rag making Tenten wide-eyed. Naruto said, water is a control agent to help protect me in battle also, as he stopped the water and began to give himself a wash off. Tenten said, I see, as she quickly dried herself off and got dressed as Naruto got out a few moments later and grabbed his cloths and got dressed in a pair of shorts and a shirt. When they left the bathroom Tenten sat down on one of the beds and asked, so want to talk about it? Naruto was silent a few moments as he sat down also before laying back and looking at the ceiling and said, I've killed before. The first time was when I saved Tsunami when 2 mercs were sent to kidnap her and Inari for insurance so we would surrender Tazuna to Gato. I also killed when I went back to Wave and stopped the men who were running the slave ring. Both times I did it because I had to kill. It was to save Tsunami and Inari life and then to save those girls' lives. Tenten said, but. Naruto sighed and said, but this time I am being ordered to kill a Konoha ninja at that. I feel like Konoha is turning into the hidden mist. Tenten said, the graduation exam. Naruto looked at her and said, yeah. Zabuza told us all about it when he first attacked our team, telling us we didn't have it in us to be real ninja. I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't become a mindless tool and I would forge my own path. I just don't know if I have it in me to kill the guy the first I'm fighting or not. Tenten got up and walked over and laid down beside him and sat her head on her arm and asked, what does your heart tell you to do? Naruto closed his eyes and smirked, and Tenten asked, what's with the smirk? Naruto said, just listening to my heart. It's telling me two things. Tenten said, really, what's that? Naruto said, one is not to worry about the battle later and killing the guy the first have to face. Do what I think is best at the time. Tenten said, sounds like good advice. What's the other thing it's telling you to do? Naruto sat up on one of his arms and said, I don't know if I should tell you. You might not understand what I am trying to say. Tenten said, hey, are you saying I am not smart enough to understand you? Naruto said, no, that's not it at all. I'm just not sure the words I could say would be able to explain it best. It might be better if I showed you. Tenten blinked and asked, wah, as she was silenced and wide-eyed as Naruto lightly kissed her on the forehead, and he leaned back and said, thanks, as he laid his head back and closed his eyes. Tenten blushed as she looked at Naruto and asked in a stutter, what was that for? Naruto said, for accepting me and for trying to make me feel better even after you know all my secrets. Nobody else knows everything I've told you about myself. I feel I can trust you, so I wanted to say thank you in a special way. As he looked into her eyes. Tenten looked at him for several moments and said, you know. I want to say I'm sorry. I was wrong about you back when we first met in front of room 201. I thought you were a loudmouth idiot who wouldn't even make it past the first exams. You then blew everyone away by standing up to a Biki. You must have been very confident in your answers. Naruto snickered and Tenten asked, what? Naruto looked at her with a real smile and said, I passed with a blank piece of paper. I didn't even write my name on the test. Tenten blinked and blinked again and said, you're kidding, right? Naruto said, nope. I've never been good with paper test. Tenten blinked and burst out laughing and said, oh man. I can't believe it. You stood up to the head of torture and interrogation with a blank test. You must have balls of steel. Naruto shrugged and said, maybe. As he laid back. Tenten laid beside him on his shoulder and she said, relax, I'm tired from walking across the desert and want to sleep a little bit, and I don't want to lay beside the pervert or the Sandaime. Both are perverts. Naruto said, and you think I'm not? Tenten said, you tried to be a gentleman, everyone's at least a little perverted, that's how we get children. Naruto said, true, let's get some rest. Tenten only nods her head and both lay there asleep within moments. When Jiraiya and the Sandaime got back, Jiraiya gave a perverted giggle as he scribbled on his notebook, and Naruto said without opening his eyes, writing about your teacher-student dreams with Gigi Ero-sanin, causing Tenten to stir. Jiraiya frowned and said, no Gaki, writing about you and the future Mrs. Uzumaki. It might be as good as the time I wrote about your mom and dad's honeymoon. Naruto growled and said, nothing happened, pervert. Tenten and I don't trust a pervert, so we decided you could sleep with Gigi. Neither of us are perverts, so you better not ruin Tenten's reputation by placing her in any of your books. As for my parents, I will let Tsunade know what you writing about me and Tenten. Jiraiya paled and put his notebook away, and the Sandaime said, as amusing as this is, I guess it couldn't be helped for now. I assume you and Tenten must have shared the shower. All of us but Tenten could have gotten by the shower sensor, since we all know a physical bunshin technique. Tenten said, wait. You mean a physical bunshin would trick the seal in the shower? As she got a little red-faced. The Sandaime said, yes. It's made where civilians won't waste water in the motels, but since ninja are important for the survival of this village, they made it where ninja can bypass the seal with any bunshin jutsu other than the regular bunshin. Naruto saw several bags of takeout on the table and walked over and looked in them and said, no ramen. Jiraiya said, water is too important here to use it to steam noodles for ramen. Naruto nods and he took a plate and opened it and said, what is this? I never seen it before. Tenten grabbed her plate and saw it was the same as Naruto and said, I haven't either. What is it if you don't mind? The Sandaime said, a local favorite of the people of Suna. It's called Suna Delight. I don't know what is all in it, but it is one of 3 dishes Suna is famous for. Try it, it's quite good. Naruto took his chopsticks and took a bite and said, Not bad. Could use a little chicken broth but it's good, as he began to eat slowly much to the shock of the Sandime. Tenten also began to eat and said, it's quite good actually. After they finished eating the Sandime asked, so have you thought about your fight Naruto? Naruto frowned and Tenten thought, damn it. He was finally relaxed for his fight, and Naruto said, a little. I won't know what I am going to do until I actually fight him though. The Sandime said, have you at least thought about what you might do? Naruto looked at him and said, depends. Jiraiya asked, depends on what Gaki? Naruto looked at him and said, the suit's at 97% right now. I got flight and both my primary weapons are back up and running but I still have a little structure damage around the stomach area so it can't take as much damage as the rest of the area. My chakra is back to 100% and my inventory of senbon needles for the senbon launcher has 379 senbons and my coat has around 60 shurikens and kunais I can use. I can't use the hidden mist jutsu since there's no water so I can't hide like I did against Gaara. I got Kichibunshin, Rasengan, Raisin Shuriken, Henge, Replacement, Bunshin, and my Chakra Saber and Chakra Scythe. That's my inventory so I need to wait and see who this guy is and what he can do before I can fight him because everything I can do is basically a Chakra Eater. The Sandime said, yes, besides the basic 3 all of your skills are a rank or higher. We will have to fix that later. What about you Tenten? Even though Temari is going to throw the match she can't make it look like she is. Tenten said, actually Kakashi-sensei showed me a jutsu that will help me defeat her while I was with Team 7. Naruto bit his lip and Jiraiya and the Sandime both looked at him and Jiraiya asked, what is the jutsu if you don't mind me asking? Tenten said, Headhunter no jutsu. It will allow me to go underground and her wind attacks can't get to me so I can use another skill I've been working on. Naruto said, that's good Tenten. I'm glad Kakashi could help you, as he got up and looked out the window. Tenten frowned and asked, did I do something wrong? Naruto sighed and said, no Tenten, it has nothing to do with you. It just you proved that Kakashi didn't give a shit about me is all. In the 6 months I was his student all he ever taught me was tree walking. Tenten's eyes got wide and she looked at the 2 adults who nodded sadly and she said, oh, as she looked down. Naruto looked at the sun and said, it's almost time. The Sandime said, yes. We should head to the stadium where the battle is to take place. Are you both ready? Naruto said, as ready as I am ever going to be I guess, as he turned back from the window. Tenten grabbed her scrolls and said, I guess I am as well. Jiraiya said, good, let's go, as he led him out of the room. When they got to the stadium the sound of a crowd was heard from the outside and Naruto walked toward the tunnel and a Chunin stepped in front of Naruto and asked, are you the son of the Yondaime? Naruto looked at the Sandime with a deadpan expression and the Sandime said, yes, this is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The Chunin said, then you may proceed through the tunnel ahead, the rest of you will have to go to the audience seats to your left and you Hokage-sama may take the stairs to the right to the cage booth. The Sandime said, thank you, Jiraiya, go with Tenten please. Jiraiya nods and Tenten said, good luck Naruto. Naruto said, thanks, as he began to walk into the tunnel. When Naruto walked out of the tunnel and into the Suna Chunin Stadium he thought, well this is different, as he looked across the field seeing the field was nothing but sand and saw a black-haired boy with a leaf headband and wearing a black pair of pants and a black shirt with a scroll on his hip and a sword across his back with the handle off his shoulder. Naruto frowned and thought, Kenjutsu user. The scroll might contain weapons or other items, maybe a summoning contract like Kakashi used against Zabuza, and walked till he was 30 feet away from the teen and said, hi. The teen looked at Naruto and put on a smile and Naruto thought, fake. And the teen said, hi, my name is Sai, you're Naruto Uzumaki, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi correct? The Sandime glared at the boy and several people gasped in the crowd. Naruto said, yes. Sai said, I did not know you were the son of the Yondaime Dickless. Naruto clenched his fist and Eva said in his head, don't lose your temper. Naruto calmed down and looked around the clearing and Baki appeared and said, enough of this. Now the reason for this is because of a dispute over the right to marry the daughter of the late Kazekage. Both individuals here have a claim to her and so to settle it in the traditions of Suna they shall fight until one gives up, is unable to continue or dies. You may not use the audience or the village in this fight but anything else is allowed. Do you both understand? Both nod and Baki said, good. You may begin, as he shushed away. Sai pulled his scroll from his side and a brush and quickly drew a picture and muttered something as a tiger made out of ink jumped off of the scroll and charged at Naruto. Naruto saw this and raised his right arm and fired a senbon at the tiger and it exploded, sending ink all across the area and causing a large amount of sand to fly into the air. Naruto thought, Eva, heat signature, track him. As his vision went to purple and he saw Sai create began to fly on something cold while something cold stay on the ground in the cover created by the sand. Naruto seeing this took that moment to put his hands together and thought Kichibunshin no Jutsu. As two Kichibunshin appeared and one hanged into a demon windmill shuriken and the other Kichibunshin grabbed it and then changed into a demon windmill shuriken and the real Naruto grabbed it and jumped into the air and said, demon windmill shuriken, windmill of shadows, how about this? As he threw the windmill shuriken at Sai who was flying on a huge ink falcon. The falcon turned and avoided the shuriken and once it passed the falcon the Kichibunshin released the henge and said try this. As he tossed the windmill shuriken at the falcon. And Sai who turned to the right to avoid the shuriken. And once it passed it released the henge turning back into Naruto and both Kichibunshin started gathering chakra in their hands and formed a pair of raisin shuriken and threw them at Sai who rolled to the left and when they threw the second set in the middle of his roll Sai had to jump off the falcon that was destroyed by the raisin shuriken and the clones had already started forming another set to throw at Sai who quickly drew another falcon and two small sparrows that flew at the Kichibunshin and destroyed them. Down on the arena floor 10 senbon needles exploded near the ink clone destroying it and Naruto looked at Sai up in the air and thought, looks like an air battle. As he jumped off the ground and began to fly towards Sai. Sai twisted the falcon in a dive while drawing again as a tiger jumped from his scroll at Naruto who fired a senbon needle at the tiger and it exploded on contact and he launched 10 more at Sai who used his falcon to take the explosion as he jumped off and landed on Naruto back reaching for his sword he began to draw it when Naruto placed his hands together and said Kichibunshin no Jutsu. And 5 Kichibunshin grabbed Sai stopping him from drawing his sword and Naruto thought, what now? As Sai was still holding on with chakra on his feet and Naruto couldn't shake him while his Kichibunshin stopped him from escaping. Just then one of the Kichibunshin exploded followed by 2 more and Naruto thought quickly and started to fly straight up as fast as possible while spinning in a circle. Sai began to get sick and he lost his concentration and began to fall while Naruto stopped his climb and Sai began to draw again and another falcon appeared. Naruto looked at his power level and saw he was down to 30% and thought, shit, Eva, any ideas because I'm out. Eva said, I might have an idea but I don't know if it will work. Ink has water in it and as much ink as he is using then. Naruto thought, it's worth a shot. As he saw all the ink on the ground and he quickly began to fly down toward the ink while Sai remained in the air. When Naruto landed he flashed through hand seals and said, hidden mist no jutsu. As he concentrated and to his surprise the water separated from the ink. Up in the sky the ink that created Sai Falcon separated also as it joined the water in the air and Sai screamed as his ride fell from him into the mist in the arena. Up in the stands everyone was shocked at the display of skills that was being used by both teams. Jiraiya smirked as he saw Sai fall and said, looks like Naruto just shut down Sai main fighting ability. Tenten said, yeah but how did he know that would work? Jiraiya said, I don't know. Even I would never have tried that. Down in the arena floor Sai looked around when he heard, 8 points larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular, saccline artery, kidneys, heart. Now which one should I attack? Coming from different places in the mist and all unleashing a little ki. Sai remained calm and silent as he reached for his sword and suddenly 2 Naruto came baseball sliding and said, "Uz." As they kicked him in the stomach, as 2 more kicked him in the chin sending him into the air, as 1 springboarded off of the clones on the ground kicking Sai in the stomach again, ki. A clone jumped behind him and wrapped his arms around Sai and said, Naruto. Leaning him back as the real Naruto flew up with a Rasengan in his hand screaming, Rasengan Renden, shoving it into Sai chest and sending him back into the mist that was dissolving. Naruto landed panting a little and the mist cleared and he frowned as he saw Sai turn into mud and Sai burst from the ground in front of Naruto and went to slash Naruto in the head when Naruto used his left arm to block the blade and a clang sound was heard and Naruto was looking down as the cloak dropped off his arm and began to spread across his entire body revealing his armor shocking nearly everyone. Sai saw this and jumped back as Naruto attempted to kick him and said, I have no information on this. Naruto looked up and said, what do you mean? You're saying you had information on the rest of my abilities? Sai said, yes. When you battled Kisame in Wave Country, someone was watching the battle who informed Danzo of everything you did against him. The Sandaime looked at Danzo, who was frowning at Sai, and Naruto said, really? Then why didn't this person help Tenten and me fight Kisame then if he or she was there? Sai said, acting against the orders of a superior is against the rules. The agent was told to follow and observe your party. Naruto asked, and what are your orders then? Why are you interested in Temari? Sai said, I do not care about the Kazekage daughter. Danzo-sama wishes for her, so he has ordered me to kill you and marry her. She will then join Root and follow Danzo-sama orders. Naruto snorts and said, you don't know Temari then. She's too independent to follow some senile old crippled who got injured jacking off so much he went blind in one eye and wore his arm out so much that it had to be removed. Several people snickered and Danzo growled, and Sai said, you should know your place as a tool of the Hidden Leaf Village and follow the orders of Danzo-sama. Naruto shook his head and said loudly, Gigi, whatever headaches I caused you when I was younger, I'm sorry. You were right to try and protect me from idiots like Danzo if this is what he does to his own son. I hate to see what he does to others that he has control over. No matter, I grow bored of these talks, as another Naruto grabbed Sai's feet and pulled him into the ground, but Sai replaced himself with Naruto and pulled his sword and said, I knew your clone was digging under the ground the entire time. I waited until you pulled me under so I could trap you. Now I must carry out my orders. As he went to strike Naruto but was blocked by Tenten, who had a chakra saber in her hand. Sai jumped back when Uchiha Itachi appeared. Sai jumped back again as Kisame, who appeared, took a swing at his head, but Sai was too slow and the sword passed right through Sai, dissolving into particles, and Sai asked, what? As he was forced to jump away from a chakra saber from Naruto as Tenten, Itachi, and Kisame all dissolved into particle. Naruto said, you talk too much, as he took a stance he learned from Yugao. Sai said, Genjutsu. I was informed you were unable to perform Genjutsu. Naruto remained silent and Sai went to strike at Naruto, but was blocked and blocked again when he went to reverse the blade strike, and Sai kept trying to slice at Naruto, who was blocking each strike, but as Sai got faster, Naruto was being pushed back and Naruto soon found himself back against the walls, and Sai went to strike, did a sword reversal that caused Naruto to lose the chakra saber, and Sai went to cut Naruto head off when Naruto fired a senbon needle with his now free hand and he hit Sai in leg and exploded, blowing his leg from the thigh off as well as his manhood. Sai screamed as he was rolling on the ground from the pain of losing his limb, and Naruto grabbed Sai's sword and walked over and raised the sword above his head and looked at Sai and brought it down, and it entered the ground beside Sai's head, and Naruto said, I can't kill a fellow leaf shinobi. Call the match and get him to a doctor. His ninja life is over but he can still live. As he turned and walked over and grabbed his chakra saber and sealed it before he looked one more time at Sai, who was still screaming, and walked away. The people cheered as Naruto walked over to the wall, and some ninja grabbed Sai and shushined away to the hospital, and Gaara appeared in the stadium and said, the winner is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze and has won the right to marry my sister Temari. Does anyone wish to contest this marriage? As he looked at Tenten for a moment. Tenten stood up and said, yeah, I do. I contest Temari being the one to marry him when I want to marry him. Gaara said, very well, then like Naruto you must fight my sister for the right to marry him. Tenten said gladly, as she began to walk down toward the arena. Danzo stood up and said, pardon me Kazekage-sama, but I believe that it would be a waste of everyone's time to have this next match when a simpler solution has presented itself. The Sandaime shushined next to Gaara and asked, what are you getting at, Danzo? You have no right to interfere in Suna diplomacy. Danzo said, that's true, but the Namikaze family is a Konoha family, and that means that this would fall under Konoha jurisdiction. As such, I feel since he is the last Namikaze and because of his gifts rewarded to him from being the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, that it may be a new bloodline appearing, and if it is, then he would have the right to form his own clan. The daughter of the late Kazekage would be a welcome addition to Konoha to help ensure the future of the new possible bloodline and his family future, as would the young lady who already stated she wishes to marry him. Instead of having them fight, it would be in everyone's interest to have him start his own harem. That way Suna would be honoring their agreement to a wedding to a Konoha ninja, and also a chance to cement the interest of the Namikaze clan to the people of Konoha, so they won't be afraid to lose the Namikaze clan to Suna in the future. Unless there is a reason for both ladies to fight that we are unaware of, I don't see a reason for them to fight, and I know the Council of Konoha would agree with me even though I am no longer a member of the Council. The Sandaime frowned and Gaara looked at both Temari and Tenten, who were looking shocked, and over at Naruto, who had returned to looking normal and did not look happy, and said, I cannot speak for the people of Konoha. Suna will not be making the mistakes that we made in the past by dishonoring ourselves to our allies with some underhanded trick or political manipulation. I only stated using the same law that required Naruto and Sai to fight earlier, since it was my belief this situation was the same as the one we just got out of. What is Konoha standing on this matter, Hokage-san? The Sandaime said, Danzo does bring up a good point, but I never did like the idea of forcing people to marry unless they wanted to, so I will offer both ladies a chance to back out of this if they do not want to marry Naruto. Tenten thought, shit, this isn't good. If I back out now, then people will know something was up and it could cause us to go back to war with Suna. I'm stuck, but Temari can be freed at least. Temari thought, not good. If I back out, it will make it look like Suna is trying to back out of the deal and Panda is stuck in this deal, because if she backs out, then people will know the fight was planned. She did it to free me and Naruto, so the least I can do is honor her and Naruto for what they tried to do. Tenten said, I still want to marry him. Temari said, so do I, making Tenten wide-eyed. The Sandaime began to whisper something only Gaara could hear. Naruto thought, I guess you were right, Eva. Tenten was stuck because of not being able to back out, but I was surprised Temari didn't back out. I wonder why. Eva said, most likely honor for what you and Tenten were willing to do for her. Naruto sighed and said, so be it, as he pushed off the wall and walked over and said, so when is this wedding going to be, Gigi, brother? Gaara said, it was originally planned for this afternoon, but the Sandaime has informed me that Tenten's father is still in Konoha and it would be dishonoring to him to have his only child wedding without informing him and allowing Naruto a chance to prepare his home for a clan. For this reason, the wedding will be here at the end of the Chunin exams in 5 months. That will give all the VIPs as well as all the family and friends who wish to see the wedding to come to it and not have to schedule a trip into their already busy schedule. It will also give us a chance to demonstrate our loyalty to our allies in the Leaf Village, but also to our enemies that we are strong and united. The Sand Village will show why it is one of the 5 great villages. This I promise to you as the Godime Kazekage, that I will show our strength to the world and protect it and our allies, so that the mistakes of the past will never happen again and that we will never fall. The people began to cheer and Naruto walked over and bowed slightly to Gaara, and Gaara placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder and said, never bow to me, brother, as he held out his hand and Naruto grasped it and the Sandaime nods. Up in the stand, Danzo glared at this and quickly left. Tenten saw Temari had a tear fall and she asked, why are you crying? Temari said, he's amazing. Tenten said, yeah, I guess your brother will make a great Kazekage. Temari chuckled and said, I was talking about our fiancé. He did something I thought was impossible and changed Gaara from a person who believed his only reason to live was to kill to someone who wants to protect. I actually can touch my baby brother now. I have never been able to do that. You don't know how much that means to me. I would marry Naruto just for that reason alone. Forget what you and him tried to do for me. Tenten looked at Naruto, who was smiling a real smile as he shook hands with Gaara and said, he's unique. He's willing to sacrifice everything to make people happy. He may not have been what I was expecting as a husband at first, but I think I could grow to love him, especially with those back rubs. Temari blinked and asked, what back rubs, Panda? Tenten smiled evilly and said, nothing, sandwich. Temari growled and said, I think it's time I showed you who's the first wife going to be here, Panda-chan, as she grabbed her fan. Tenten grabbed her scrolls and said, bring it, sandwich. Before either girl knew it, both were in a kiss from Naruto Kage while the real one was standing with the 2 Kage. When the Kage stopped kissing the girls, they said, behave and I might give both of you a back rub that Tenten was talking about, but only good girls get them, before both went up in smoke. Tenten looked at Temari, who nods, and both walked over and hit Naruto upside the head and he said, damn it, you're both worse than fangirls, only to be knocked out by both girls who stomped away. Jiraiya, who was scribbling in his notebook, said, you have much to learn, my apprentice. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.